Hey nieces and nephews, this is your black auntie Kiana Ellison, and this is a Blackity Black recap. Last episode, I talked about microaggressions and brought up a nice, interesting topic called, the little things. Oh, man, now I'm looking back at it. I should have called that episode The Little Things of Life, but hey, you live and you learn. Well, in that episode, I talked about some of the experiences I have experienced as a black person when it comes to microaggressions, typically around being not black enough, being accused of not being black at all, or being biracial. There's nothing wrong with being biracial, as I've said and stated before, but as a non-biracial person, being called biracial is a hit because I'm not biracial. I have two black parents. They have two black parents. I've been black as the slave trade, So for me to be called multiracial or biracial is a hit to my blackness because I am 100% black. I just want to let that be out there because sometimes people think either being multiracial or multi-ethnic or whatever is a compliment when coming to my blackness. And I want everyone to know it's not a compliment when you're trying to diss someone's blackness. It's a huge insult. And if you don't feel that way, that's a personal problem and you just should stop that because there's so many reasons. And I could talk all day, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. So if you want to know more about microaggressions in that light and some of the experiences that I talked about, it would be in the last episode titled, you guessed it, microaggressions. Can we get a round of applause for the people in the back? Amen. CPS is really working for us. Well, I just wanted to hop on here and talk about, life and some, recent thoughts I've been having. Because I've realized that the little things make up the larger majority. And it might be like, well, Kiana, that just seems like what everyone knows already. But being black and just trying to be a representation of myself as a woman, myself as a person, me as an individual, me also as a conglomerate is overwhelmingly stressful because like I said, the little things make up the big picture. And I know there's a handful of people who truly could not give two flying craps about the little things, but here's an example of what the little things can really do. So the other day I was in the gym, right? Minding my own black business. And this older white gentleman, he was babysitting this machine. So I asked him, hey, hey, you using this? And he was like, nah, right? Mind you, I have purple box braids. It took me 7 hours to do my hair. And I didn't make it look natural one bit. Because I want people to know I spent 7 hours doing my hair. I want you to gas me up because I spent 7 hours doing my hair. I don't want you to think this is natural one bit. If I did, there's a different technique, right? Anyway, this is important to the story for all the black people listening, all the black women particularly, or hair people. Anyway. So this older white guy, he's babysitting the machine. We had a little conversation, woo, right? So Mr. Mans takes his headphones out, and he said, "Hey, yo," to me. He's like, "So is that all your hair?" Me being the black person I am, I said, "No, they're box braids," and I had no problem answering the question. It was the further conversation that went on. He went on to say, and this is where I personally feel like the microaggressions came from. He says, yeah, okay, cool. Because, some of the others like to say that's all their real hair. And I paused and I was taken back a little bit. And I said, well, sometimes it is. And I didn't really make him feel uncomfortable, nor was I trying to. But if I did, that's a personal problem because... Anyway, I'm going to finish the story. So Mr. Man continues to talk about like how he didn't say black women, but because I'm a black woman, he's a white man. And when he said some others, he's not talking about white women. He's not talking about Asian women. He ain't talking about Middle Eastern women. He's talking about black women when he says some others, and goes on to be like, yeah, because, they like to say like that's all their hair. And I keep trying to reiterate to him that some black people have long hair, have long, colorful hair at that. But I'm not one of those black people, and we can kind of end the conversation. But he just kept going on and yip yap, yappity yap yap, and talking and talking and talking. And I'm sitting here looking at him like, what does he want me to say? That I'm lying and this is my hair? I know I don't know what he wants from me. And it's awkward to be in situations like that, because let's say I did say this is my real hair, right? Let's just I want him to be all up in my mashed potatoes, And he goes on to, continues to pick. I'm in public. I don't know you. I don't care if you were black, white, purple, green, chartreuse. I don't care what color you are. I don't know you. You are a stranger. Stop asking about information about me. You might as well ask for my social security. While you're at it, all up in my business. So I was just hecka uncomfortable in that confrontation, that conversation, whatever you want to call it, because I didn't ask him anything about his body, you know? I asked him anything about his body, and that goes further than me just being a woman, That literally ties into the little things of me being a black woman. When he gets to say to me, a black woman, as a white man, he gets to say to me, that some other black women are liars because of their hair, as if that's something important. Why is that important? How is that important? How is the character of a person displayed in their hair? You're sitting up in here looking at me with no relevance at all besides babysitting the machine I want to use for working out. And you can come to me and blatantly say, without any fear, without any repercussions, about other people of my ethnic background, about people of my gender. And it's just okay, just casual conversation. But if I were to come out for white women, if I were to come out after white men, it would be a whole little conversation between the both of us, And it just didn't sit right with me. And I know I could possibly be tumbling back and forth on this conversation, but I just kind of wanted to make it like, I guess, thought provoking. Like, how is that okay? How is that appropriate? Like, as a black person, if I walked up to random white people doing random white people things, like going to the grocery store and breathing, and I walked up to them with the audacity to ask, is that your natural skin color? Because you look awfully tan. And the random white guy looks at me and says, no, this is actually spray tan. I just like the color. And I go, oh, yeah, of course, this is spray tan because white people, you guys are really pale. Yeah. Some of the others, though, they like to say that's their natural skin color, even though we know is a dead lie. And the white guy looks at me and says, well, some white people can actually tan this dark naturally, and goes on to explain blah, 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 blah. And I go, yeah. But, some of the others, those people lie. Like, they try to trick us and say that they're actually that dark. But we all know it's a spray tan. And the white guy reiterates himself and goes, no, some of them aren't lying, and they are that color. Is genetics. It's possible, just not common. And I'm like, yeah, but it's really hard to believe because a lot of white people, I mean, some of the others are just you know yeah, what I'm talking about, right? And he has to go, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. well, have a great day. And I'm like, yeah, you have a great day too. Hope you pick them apples and breathe that oxygen. There wouldn't be enough managers in this entire multiverse for every Karen and Chad to complain to about such an altercation. For the other rest of the white people who are not there to defend themselves, and they're as a white person, you have to just sit there and be like, where is this coming from? Why are you talking to me right now? Like, why do you have this audacity? Like, who are you? Like, who are you? Who am I to be all up in your mashed potatoes, eating all your food in your refrigerator, raiding your house for information about you, a stranger? And that's what it feels like to be in those situations. And black people in general can back me up on this. People have the audacity to do this to us. Unfortunately, it's not just white people, it's all people who do this to us. So, all the lives matter people. Here is your movement right here. All people here. Yeah, they all do this to black people. So, hoorah for y'all. But yeah, back on my topic is just the little things. Like getting to ask a complete stranger if my purple box braids are mine and at the gym, or asking a black man who's educated, why does he talk like that? Why doesn't he speak like a black person? Is the same type of, well, don't you want to get the job? Why would you have your hair like that? Like what? You mean natural? You mean curly? Because it grows like this? I'm not sure if people are aware, but black people will have black features because they are black. Because we are black, we have these features. It's not a trend. We look like this because we are like this, because we are this. This ain't nothing special. It's regular for us. This is regular black behavior, and it shouldn't be exhibited or like displayed like some exotic horse show or something. We're just black, and we're just black. Come on. And because I'm just black and I should be just as normal as any other person, I shouldn't have to deal with the micro questions of, like, are you sure? Like, had you asked your parents like your full lineage? Have you asked like more questions about your like growing up and stuff like that? Are you sure you're raised on the south side of Chicago? I've been to the south side, and the south side black people down there, they don't dress like you. They don't act like you. Sometimes they don't even look like you. So how can you be from the south side? If if ignorant had a name in the face, the person who asked such a dumb question would be right there to be like the descriptor, because that is just the dumbest stuff I've ever heard, have been asked and been accused of, like faking my ethnicity or like having to like black it up so people can take my face value of my ethnicity. And I know I'm not the only black person. Black people, when we come together and we talk, okay? We will code switch for the rest of y'all, but when we come together, there ain't no code switching. There ain't no sugar coating of any sort. And I want that same energy for people who aren't black. Like, I want to have these same type of conversations that I get to have with my own people with other ethnicities. But I can't have those conversations with people as we are right now, because it will always twist right back and go, well, I didn't say that. I didn't do that. Well, I wasn't there. You can't say all these type of people. You can't say all. When sometimes general statements are easier than trying to nitpick every single individual person. And I feel like this statement is about to bite me right in the butt, because as a black person, I do hate it when people try to bunch me in with the rest of black people. But at the same light, I'm only like 13% of the population, and a lot of my people are already incarcerated. So there's not a lot of representation of black people. So there's such a small amount, and the media has not been very gracious. So when it's a difference when you try to clump up all white people, because there's enough representation of different types of white people to make an overarching statement versus the very minuscule representation black people have. So there is a grand difference when you say, well, white people do this versus, well, black people or people of Asian descent do this or people of Latin descent do this, because there's just not enough representation in those other groups in comparison to white people. But regardless of representation, I want to be able to talk as a black person, like a black person, because I am a black person. And some people may be asking, well, what does it mean to talk like a black person? It means like talking like a black person, like the way I naturally speak, uncode switched, and not in this constant battle of trying to present myself in a way where it is consumable, where it is delightful for the ear, where it's not hard for people to listen to. I want to talk. I want to express myself in the way that is me, completely me, and not just the me that people can handle. But anyways, it does come back to these little things, these small, irritating little things, these microaggressions that even I were blind to in my own right, which I talked about in the last podcast, but having to deal with it as long as I've been dealing with it is honestly just crappy. And it's a little different than it was for like my ancestors and like my family, because like black people and people can come from me and ask me questions, but I feel as a black person I have to be more sugar-coated and more like presentable than I did in the past, because before we were trying to break stereotypes and trying to form like our status as people and trying to prove to people that we are people. But now all of that has been said and done, but the stereotypes are still there. The microaggressions are still said. The racial aggressions and stuff like that are still done, yet we have made our mark already. And it's really frustrating because before it was on paper, it was documented, it was way more common for people to be outright about their racist bias, and it was easier to call things out. Versus now, if I were to do the same thing, it's, well, Kiana, aren't you just complaining about the same old thing? Aren't you tired of complaining? Aren't you tired of talking about the same thing? Aren't you tired of trying to be a victim? When in reality, I'm not trying to be a victim. I'm honestly trying to be the opposite of a victim. And I'm trying to cause people who are trying to make me seem like a victim to stop their behavior. No black person wants to be like a victim in their true hearts of hearts. Like, not as black people. Some people just got things up with them and they so happen to be black. But like, as black people as a whole, we ain't trying to be a victim. That ain't part of our history. If anything, we trying to just be people. That's literally part of our history. You can just read about it. I don't have to go in detail about it. You can literally just read about it. That's not what I want from like these type of conversations. This is not supposed to be like a school seminar where I sit here and I spit facts and facts and facts and I'm debating and trying to express myself the way so many people are expressing themselves. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I want to have a conversation. I want people to be able to talk to me. I want to talk to people. I want to hear experiences. I want to know what riles people up. And I'm just sitting here talking about like facts. I might as well just become like a teacher or professor or something and just teach people. I want to learn together because that's how these microaggressions happen. This is how these little biases happen. This is how these like ethnic not quarrels, not like kind of just like ununderstandings, I guess you can say, happen because we don't understand each other, especially as Black people in our societies. People just don't understand us, and that's where we get these little significant situations in our daily lives. As little as asking me, "Is my hair is real?" Because these little things are adding up. These little holes in the road are potholes and craters and sinkholes for Black people, where it may be insignificant for you, but for us, it's literally causing a stop in our day. It's literally causing harm in our lives, where some people are not even diagnosed with the proper ailments because of their ethnicity, because their lack of representation or stereotypes behind them, or the microaggressive statements where it's just so aggravating. Because in my own life, it's so present where I've been treated badly at the hospitals because, oh, we weren't really expecting you to have XYZ, just take this, take that. When I needed like an operation or like physical therapy, I was just shunned away or laughed at, And I could talk about that story probably on the live. So if you're curious or interested, leave a comment below and I will share that story. But it's just irritating because even though those are very small, insignificant things, insignificant comments, they're always backed up on something that is real. Something that is real for somebody, like a stereotype or whatever. And that's why it's important to check ourselves when it comes to these microaggressions. We can't just sit here and say, that's how things are. You're crying over spilt milk. I don't know why you're still complaining about it. I don't see the problem with it. It's not about you seeing a problem. If there is a problem, there is a problem. If you can't see it, that's a personal problem which you can go get fixed. But if there's an overarching problem, it should get fixed in the same way. You can't fix a giant fire with a cup of water. You must be mad to believe that, or a person of great faith. But honestly, it's not faith. You are being delusional. A cup of water will not take out a giant fire. You have to get a hose. You have to attack the issue with the same energy. And that's what we have to do with these microaggressions. It should not be comfortable for someone, a stranger, to ask me a personal thing about my body and vice versa. It should not be something of casual conversation for me to ask personal information to strangers. No, stop that. And I don't want to tell people what to do, but I'm telling you what to do, what not to do, if I should be more correct. Not to be intrusive to people. And a lot of microaggressions kind of stem from the same thing of stereotypes and where those stereotypes come from and understanding those stereotypes. And that's just so much. But for what I want to understand and want to be understood today is being considerate of others, who they are, where they come from, what you don't know about them. Don't assume based on what you have experienced. Allow your experiences to guide your own self and how you go about the world in your own right, but don't allow your own biases to guide other people's realities, because that's not fair. And a lot of microaggressions and the questions that follow them are based in someone else's reality. But at the end of it, we are all humans and we all do make mistakes when it comes to speech and things that need to be said. I know I am one of many words, and many words means many errors. Yet, if you catch yourself, apologize, and try again. Because there's no reason to be so intrusive, especially to strangers. Well, that's all for today, everyone. I'm just so thankful for everyone who took the time out to listen to me talking, because I can talk a lot. But I just want everyone to remember that microaggressions are small, hard to see if you're not really familiar with the environment. So keep on your guard, ask around. Everyone has been through something, and a lot of those little things are microaggressions, whether it's your gender, whether it's your sexuality, whether it's your religion or faith, your job, or woo woo woo. It's getting steeped in some microaggressive statements, okay? This is America. It's a melting pot of microaggressions. So I just want everyone to know that it's okay to ask questions, but it's not okay to be intrusive. Personal space is personal space, and personal bodies are personal bodies. Keep yours where yours is, and mine's where mine is, and we will not have a problem. I hope everyone has a great day. Whatever day you're listening to it, I hope it's a sunny day in Philadelphia, even though this is Chicago. Remember to be safe out here, and always stay black, y'all. Bye.